सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करभावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Bhaja Govindam. We finished studying verse number 1. In verse number 1, we studied all human beings, even at the deathbed also, they don't leave the mundane pursuits. Meaning, the whole lifetime is caught up in that mundane pursuits. Not only they are caught up in that mundane pursuit, they don't even understand the limitations of it and then continue to do the same thing again and again and again. So what he is trying to tell us is, using the grammarian, he said mundane activity. Because he's a grammarian, a pundit, he has to use the grammar. Supposing if you had seen a business person, he would have said something else. Supposing if you had seen a person in share market, he would have said something else. Supposing a person who is involved in any mundane activity, the message remains the same. So grammar is not literal grammar. What it means is all mundane activities. What is the mundane activity? A mundane activity is that which the human being pursues in the hope of getting something. It's mundane because it gives you a hope that you will get it. In the end, you don't get it. So what is mundane activity? Mundane activity means that which makes you to pursue something, but then you won't get it. At the appointed time, samprapte sannihite kale, when Yama comes. When Yama comes means it's not the physical actual death with so much of craving and involvement and attachment. You acquire something, you associate with something, and then all that you associate with leaves you. When it leaves you, you are not ready for the departure. All that you associate with all that you are associating with, you need to leave. That is samprapte sannihite kali. All prapta means what you have. You think that you have it. You think it is yours. But then what you have to do is you have to leave it. When do you leave? There is appointed time. Appointed time means, please understand, it's poetry. Appointed time means what time you appointed, who fixed that. It's not all that. It's poetry. What does appointed time means? Appointed time is an indication of saying all association will have an end. Again, all association will meet with an end, just as all birth will meet with the death. Every association will end in every association will end. It means a human being, a foolish person, means one who is not prepared himself for this. Prepared himself for this means you don't wait for it to end. You don't ask when it will end, what will happen to me after that. It is not that preparation. Preparation means a clarity that anything that you associate with will necessarily end. Now, when you understand all that you associate with necessarily end, what will happen? You will not invest yourself heavily in that. Are you able to follow? You will not invest yourself heavily in that. So to tell you that don't get involved, because all association will end up in disassociation. This is mantra, sorry, this is verse number 1. Yes.
I didn't understand that samprapte sannihite. 2 words.
Samprapte sannihite means is what just as I said. In the proximity of kala, when you are invested to when you are so attached, the thought of it going to leave you creates a lot of, anything that you associate with, the thought of it going to leave you, what happens to you? You are associating with something. Is it going to be a permanent association? No. The thought of it going to leave you, what happens? You get frightened. You feel insecure. The fear, the insecure is not rightly understood. Are you able to follow? Samprapte sannihite kale. Sannihite means in the proximity of time, everybody, all that you are attached to will leave you. That is called sannihite. Are you okay? What is your question?
So because I understand kala as time. When you are saying sannihite, also you are bringing in the meaning of time. So I'm not able to understand that.
Kala means time. Sannihite means proximity, closer. Kala can be 25 years later also. So kala means time. Sannihite means proximity. When the time of departure comes, when the departure time comes, when you are about to lose it, when you are losing it, what happens? Are you able to follow? When you are about to lose it, what happens? It doesn't save you. It doesn't protect you. Nahi nahi rakshati. What doesn't protect you? Your mundane activity will not protect you. From what? What it will not protect you? That which you are obsessed and craving, it will slip and you cannot do anything about it. That which you are craving, that which you are obsessed, that which you are attached to will leave you. And you have to simply see it in front of you. And you will not be able to do anything about it. Only thing that you can do is you can go on crying, weeping yourself, why it happened to me, why it happened to me. That's all. Are you able to follow? Therefore, what is he saying? Oh, fool. Before you get close to anything, do you understand that the closeness is a vulnerable, the closeness that you are having, you have made yourself vulnerable to. The closeness is your vulnerability to sorrow. Anything that you get close to, that is a sure recipe for sorrow. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Mudhamate. Oh fool. And when he says, oh fool, don't look at the person sitting next to you. Addressing. Yeah. When he's saying, oh fool, he's not, don't look at the person sitting next to you. Even if nobody is sitting next to you, don't think that it is for others. Oh Mudamate means you should hear it as Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Mudamaten Kekulat. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Vijayin Kek. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Aparnan Kek, isn't it? Mudamaten, because both are one and the same. There is no difference between the two anyway. This is verse number 1. Any other clarification we are having? Yes.
Hari sir. Sir, you said God is Kala and one who destroys time. Right? How he destroys the time? How does one should know that Kala destroys time?
No. Kala destroys time. No. I said God alone has the ability to destroy Kala. Kala itself means time. Kala itself means time. God has the power, capacity to destroy Kala. Nobody can destroy Kala. Who can kill time? Who can stop the changes from? Is there anybody who has the capacity to prevent the changes from happening? One person has this capacity. The wise one. In that sense, he has conquered Kala. Conquered Kala means one who has moved from the changes to the changeless. One who has moved from mortality to immortality. You follow? So God is one who can conquer. Nobody can conquer time. Nobody can kill time. Killing means transcending. Transcending time. Killing means if you have transcended it, means you have killed it. You have conquered it. Meaning you are no more a victim of that. Conquer means what? Win means what? You are no more a victim of that. You are no more one who will be suffering under that. Are you okay? Therefore, this is what is called as conquering Kala. Conquering time. Like the Puranic story says, Shiva had the capacity to kill Yama. Meaning, whoever is in the vicinity, whoever says Shiva says I will protect you, Yama cannot do anything to that person. It's a story. You follow what I'm saying? Bhaja Govindam. Is it okay, Shankar?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Mudhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Rakshati, Dukran Karne. Another way of looking at the verse is Aparavidya will not take you anywhere. That is another way of looking at the same verse. Paravidya and Aparavidya. Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karne. So you can say verse number 1 is talking about Aparavidya. Verse number 2 is talking about wealth. And verse number 3 is talking about women. So knowledge, acquisition, enjoyment. So first 3 verses, you can understand it as knowledge, acquisition, and enjoyment. So grammarian is example of knowledge. Wealth is symbolic of acquisition. Women is symbolic of enjoyment. So 3 verses. The foolishness of human being is explained in the first 3 verses. The first verse is about the knowledge. Here, knowledge means Aparavidya. Aparavidya means anything that takes you Anything that takes you away from the self. Okay, knowledge means that which reveals. Aparavidya means it doesn't reveal anything, it reinforces the ignorance. Knowledge means it should reveal you. No. Knowledge means I know means you know. Knowledge means that which will reveal the truth. Aparavidya doesn't reveal anything. Aparavidya keeps you in darkness. Aparavidya takes you deeper and deeper and deeper into darkness. So, another way of understanding the same verse is you can bring in aparavidya. What is this paravidya and aparavidya? We quoted the Mundaka Upanishad mantra last week itself. Tatra para rigvedo yajurvedo samavedo tarvavedah shiksha kalpo vyakarano nirukto chando jyotishamiti. Knowledge which doesn't reveal your true nature is aparavidya. Knowledge that reveals who you are is paravidya. Aparavidya is that which takes you away from yourself. Paravidya is that which reveals yourself. With this background, if you look at it, the entire human being attention and focus is on aparavidya only. The amount of time and energy that a person is willing to invest in aparavidya, paravidya, one class. The education can it be you send your child 1 hour in a week to school. எங்கேயாவது எஜுகேஷன் நடக்குமா இப்படி? இங்கதான் வீக்லி 1 மணி நேரம் அதுக்கே குரூப் வச்சுக்க வேண்டியிருக்குது, அதுக்கே போஸ்டிங்லாம் வேற போடணும். வருவாங்களா மாட்டாங்களா தெரியாது. Can any education, is there any education that is possible like this? What is the time and energy spent on aparavidya? The time and energy that is spent on aparavidya. 25-30 years of time and energy is spent. Not only 25-30 years of energy is spent on that, isn't it? Everyday newspaper also, isn't it? Everyday newspaper, everyday news channel, isn't it? Posting, I don't know what all is happening. That which takes you away from that. That is called aparavidya. What is paravidya? Paravidya is that which reveals. Paravidya is that which reveals who you are. Who you are. Why the aparavidya is so attractive? Paravidya is very repulsive. It's so funny, I have seen, isn't it? The child will be in LKG, UKG, first standard, second standard, but the whole activities will be centered around the school, no? Child is not doing any PhD or anything, one ordinary, second standard, third standard. But how every activity will be centered around that vidya? Why? Why so much of attention and focus on that vidya? That everybody has to adjust everything according to that. Why? Because it produces you a tangible benefit of artha, which is wealth, and followed by wealth gives you a hope of sukham, enjoyment. Are you able to follow? Why so much of time is spent around that, and all activities are centered around, all activities of the entire family is centered around that. And why? Because in that there is the hope of artha, wealth. That's what he's connecting to verse number 2. That's where verse number 2 comes. Even the society is spending so much of time on aparavidya for what? So much of time on aparavidya for what? Oh fool! Again he starts. Again he starts. Oh fool! It's so interesting to see. It's so interesting to see how everything is revolving around the aparavidya priority. Why this aparavidya priority? Because aparavidya gives the scope of wealth. Paravidya is going to talk about dharma, sacrifice, karma, jnanam, all that. Looks like useful only to give as a lecture to another, but not for one to pursue. Are you able to follow? It is very useful to give a lecture to another, but very useless when you have to, very useless if you have to pursue that. Therefore, what happens? Entire focus of the society is on the aparavidya. Why so much of focus on the aparavidya? Because aparavidya gives you what? A hope that you can earn wealth and you will responsibly handle that wealth and you will get matured also. Is there any human being done that? Is there any human being know by learning aparavidya alone knowing how to handle wealth? Artham and Artham is going to conclude again. The last verse, you will connect it. You will not remember, but I will remember. And it is my responsibility. No, you won't remember. I will remember. We will connect it when we go there. Artham anartham bhavayen. He says this artham is anartham. He is going to say. Why? Because this aparavidya gives you a belief. What is the belief? We thought education is going to make a human being more compassionate. We thought education is going to make a human being more sacrificial. We thought education is going to make human being a better person. More and more education is happening. More and more a human being is getting educated. What do you see in that human being? What do you see in that human being? Aparavidya, carefully follow now. Aparavidya makes you very intelligent, and intelligence is cunning, manipulative, wicked, exploitive. Take it or leave it. The law doesn't change. Aparavidya makes you intelligent, and intelligence will result in this only. Therefore, he is saying, why do you want to get into that? And why do you want everybody to get into that, which is going to be the result of? Are you able to follow? Okay. An illiterate pickpocket on the roadside, what he will do? He will try to pick the purse. Out of 10 times, 8 times he will fail. One time he will get caught and beaten up nicely also, isn't it? Correct? Educated fellow means he will know how to steal, and also he will know how not to get caught, and also he will know how to justify it. Take it or leave it. No wonder. But this is how intelligence, this is how we are all know. And then when we face the karma of it, everybody is crying. When the karma comes back, everybody is worried. Everybody comes and asks why it is happening like this, why it is happening like this, why it is happening like this. The question is how it will not happen. Are you able to follow? We thought education is going to make a human being more innocent. Innocent means good. We thought a human education will make a human being more mature, more sacrificial, more accommodative, more law abiding. Correct? What has happened to this Aparavidya? If a person has mastered Aparavidya, that fellow will know how to break all the law and also know how not to get caught, and also can convince you that it is the அப்படிதான் சார் இருக்கணும். என்ன புத்திசா what a என்ன புத்திசாலி சார், what a brilliance that fellow has, breaking all the norms. Aparavidya. Shankara, any human being who has seen the reality will understand this. Till then, the human being will be so attracted to Aparavidya and will face the consequences of following the Aparavidya. What is the consequences of Aparavidya? What is the consequence? Samprapte sannihite kale. All that you worked for, all that you craved for, all that you accumulated, everything that you hold on to, right in front of you will say goodbye and leave. You will only sit in pain, frightened, insecure. Therefore, the attention is what? Let your conviction shift from Aparavidya to Paravidya. Make use of it, but don't be convinced that it is going to save you. Again, make use of it, but don't be convinced that it is your protector. Very well follow. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukran Karne. This is verse number 1. The chorus, which is like a very broad introduction to any scripture. Not only Bhaja Govindam. This verse can be used as the common factor for any scripture. With this, we finish verse 1 and we move on to verse number 2. Verse number 2 padinga.
Bhajahi hitanagama trishnam kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam yallabhase nijakarmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam Mudhajahi dhanagama trishnam kuru sadbuddhim manasi vitrishnam yallabhase nijakarmopatam vittam tena vinodaya chittam.
O fool, give up your thirst for aggrandizing wealth. Create in your mind the thought of reality instead of the thirst. Whatever you gain from your action, content your mind with that wealth obtained. O fool, give up your thirst for aggrandizing wealth. Create in your mind the thought of reality instead of the thirst. Whatever you gain from your action, content your mind with that wealth obtained. Again he says, O fool. Who's a fool? A fool is one who causes his own suffering. And remember this, no external factor can cause your suffering. That is why anybody who says, I am suffering, the answer is, what is the answer now? Sunil, what is the answer? Nobody can cause suffering except your own self. Fool means one who causes one's own suffering. How do you cause your own suffering? By choosing to remain in ignorance and doing things that further and further solidifies, reinforces your ignorance. Idam fool artham. This is the meaning of the word fool. Again, fool is one who comes to suffer of his own making. That is why anybody who comes and claims I am suffering, the guru will look at you and say, change yourself, all problem will get sorted out. You will get very irritated at this advice. You will say, no, no, no. This person is doing this person is doing that, this party is doing that, that party is doing that, this is happening, that is happening, and everything has to be Mudhamate. One who comes to suffer, one who creates one's own suffering is a fool. Fool means it happens, no? It would happen to everybody at least once in their lifetime, isn't it? You keep the fingers and you close the door and smash your own fingers. Correct? You cause your own suffering. Imagine you take your finger and you poke at your eyes. That is fool. You take your own fingers and keep poking at your own eyes and then complain, I am suffering. So who's a fool? A fool is one who causes one's own suffering. Not only one causes it, maintains it, goes on reinforcing it. How? Aparavidya. Remember that. Aparavidya. Here it is wealth. Next verse it is. Here it is Kanchana. Next verse it is Kamini. Acquisition, enjoyment. So, three things. What are the three things? Fool equals Aparavidya plus Kanchana plus Kamini. Formula mari potu vechita, you can never forget. Instead of putting it as a fool, தைரியமா put your name. Kolattur equals, அப்படி போட்டு வச்சுக்கோங்க. Kolattur equals, என்ன சொன்ன? Aparavidya plus Kanchana plus Kamini. அவ்வளவுதான். What else is there? Previous verse he spoke about that. Now he is talking about beautiful, beautiful verse. Mooda jahihi danagama trishna kurusad buddhim manasi vidrishna. Ellabase nija karmo patam vittam tena vinodaya chittam. We'll talk about it one by one. What is this wealth of the Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha? The Vedas themselves talks about wealth as something that ought to be pursued. That it should not to be pursued, ought not to be pursued, is a very useful tool. Artha is a very useful tool. And you don't spend your whole lifetime on acquiring that useful tool and not knowing how to use the tool. Imagine you buy all the tools and you don't know any of the tool. In so many houses, there are toolboxes. Now, everybody will have a toolbox and they won't even know how to use any of the tool. And it will only get rusted. A few years later, it will only get rusted. It gets thrown out and replaced by another new toolbox. But one thing that will not be done is what? You will not know how to use it. You will not know how to. So, wealth is a tool. Psychology of wealth. It's very, very important to understand the psychology of wealth. If you don't understand it, you will think why these people are against wealth, against wealth, against wealth. And then who are against wealth seems to be more wealthier than they seems to be more wealthier than the Lord. Then you get really confused. Whether is it yes or? Are you able to follow? First thing, he's saying, O fool, Muda, Trishna. Trishna is the Vega, the power, the force. A force, a greed born out of delusion and confusion. A greed that is born out of delusion and confusion. Trishna, that is the Trishna. Trishna for what? Trishna for wealth. Trishna for wealth. And this wealth is poor thing. Wealth means that which you go on accumulating and you will not use it, others will waste it. You will go on accumulating. You will go on accumulating. And because you are so occupied in the accumulation itself, you will be so scared to use it. Use panna spend aidum. Isn't it? Using it means it will get over. So what you will do? You will go on accumulating, hoarding, aggrandizing. We will not say hoarding, aggrandizing and all. We use the word saving for future. We will not use aggrandizing. Shankara doesn't know economics. Shankara, these people doesn't know our way of living. We use the word, it is for savings. What Shankara knows about inflation, sir? Return must beat the inflation. Shankar, formula correct? Right or tappa? Correct. Ram Subramaniam, formula is right or wrong? Correct. Sir, returns must beat the inflation. Inflation inflation is also not understandable. Returns are also not understandable. Nothing is understandable, but everything is happening. Isn't it? So, wealth means that which you go on aggrandizing, hoarding, accumulating. What will the other do? What will the other do? They will come and waste it. They will come and waste it. That's why Swamiji gives an example. No? Your whole lifetime is spent on accumulating. Who will come and enjoy that? Who will come and enjoy that? Vijay Rangan. Who will come and enjoy that? Son-in-law. And whatever the son-in-law leaves behind, some Swamiji will come and Srikanth. He says, son-in-law, Swamiji, isn't it? You have no time for the whole lifetime is spent on this accumulating. What is wealth? Wealth doesn't mean only the currency. Wealth doesn't mean the rupees, the dollars. Wealth means all that which you go on collecting, accumulating. All that you accumulate, all that you go on accumulating without knowing what you are going to do with all that accumulation is wealth. One person goes on counting money. Another person goes on counting how many books I have read, isn't it? One person goes on counting money. Another person goes on counting books he has read. Another person goes on counting how many temples I have visited, how many fastings I have done. One person counting money, another person counting scriptures, another person counting temple visit, another person counting, another person is counting YouTube channel followers வரமாட்டேன்றாங்க. Followers இருந்தாலும் viewership இல்ல. Instagram போடுறோம் ஒண்ணுமே வரமாட்டேன்றது. Isn't it? Are you able to follow? Counting. Somewhere down the line you have to keep counting. அவ்வளவுதான். For what? As a fool. Somewhere down the line you have to keep counting. Doesn't matter what you count, but you have to keep counting. This wealth is very deceptive because counting makes you to believe you are rich when you are so poor inside. Remember that. That's why it's called a fool. Why it's foolishness? Looks you are so wealthy from outside. Looks like you are so wealthy in terms of wealth. Looks like you are so wealthy in terms of knowledge and understanding. Looks like you are so much a bhakta in terms of pilgrimages and fasting and chantings, etc. Look like you are so famous a person because the whole world knows about you, follows you, worship you. Makes you feel so rich when you remain very poor inside. So what is wealth now? What is the meaning of the wealth? It deceives you by making you to believe that you are rich when you are actually poor. Are you able to understand why he is saying that he is not against wealth? He is against the deception. He's saying how you get deceived by it. Mudajahihi janagama Krishna. Whatever is accumulated outside cannot be taken. Samprapte sannihite kale. Whatever is accumulated outside cannot be taken. Meaning what? When Yama comes, where does Yama come for us? Only Yamaduta comes, isn't it? That's what he taught us last week. Yama doesn't come. Yama varnuna nare dharma padinranda Yama varum. Most of the time, who will come? Only Yamaduta will come. And when that Yamaduta comes, what will come with you? Nothing will come with you because you are so poor inside. Are you able to understand now? You are so poor inside. When Yamaduta comes and takes you, there will be nothing inside of you. Are you okay till now? Second, before accumulating wealth, it looks like by having wealth, all your troubles can be sorted out. After accumulating wealth, you understand another set of troubles have started. Sir, in the trouble better, sir. In the trouble, the grass is greener on the Other side. God, what a foolishness it is. If you have accumulated only the outside wealth, Yama teaches you how poor you are. Yama will come and tell you how poor you are. How do you know how poor you are? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. He's going to teach us that also. Again, but you go through that poverty, that inner poverty. That which is there with you, but is not going to help you, is only a trouble, no? Purida formula. Wealth is there, thinking that it's going to save you, but actually it's only what it is, it's only a trouble. Trouble to you and trouble to those you leave it for. Why? Because first thing they do is to get rid of that. We'll see that now. Not having wealth is one kind of trouble. Having gotten it, another kind of trouble. What is that another kind of trouble? The worry is more, the fear is more, the insecurity is more. You cannot really associate with anybody. Anybody who comes in close to you, you will think that they are coming to you only for your wealth. All that you are accumulating is inviting trouble. External accumulations is inviting trouble. Mooda jahihi danagama trishna. This is what it means. External accumulations is sheer inviting trouble. Why are human beings so crazy about accumulating? Why so much of, almost like a mania? Almost like, what is that? Stress shopping. Retail therapy. They say, no, sir, you should not. I can't forget that word. In the last 2 months, one word that really is keeping me very happy is this word, retail. Sir, it is, you should not call it as stress shopping. You should call it as retail therapy. Retail therapy means you go on accumulating. Crazy about accumulation. You don't realize that accumulation is inviting trouble. Okay, that being apart, why there is this mania for accumulation? Why this craving for accumulation? The craving for accumulation is because there is a big emptiness inside. You are so shallow inside. You are so hollow inside. A person who's so shallow and hollow inside will go on and on and on trying to accumulate things from outside. The inner emptiness drives the human being to accumulate more and more and more. If you possess nothing, you feel very empty. Correct? Again I repeat. If you possess nothing, you feel very empty inside. That is why we have such a craving for possessions. Are able to, without that, I feel a sense of emptiness. Oh, ஒரு degree கூட இல்லையா? You don't even have one university degree. Useless you are. You don't even have this much of wealth. Oh, you don't even have one house and one car. My God, useless you are. So why this craving? Why this trishna, thirst for that? Because there is an inner emptiness. That inner emptiness is so deep that how much ever you fill it up, it never gets filled up. All accumulations you take and put. You take the entire planet and put. You take the entire galaxy and put. You take the entire thing and put. Emptiness will remain the same. Remember the story, Mullah Nasruddin's begging bowl? You also remember that, no? Mullah Nasruddin's begging bowl. The king said, what is this? What is this magic bowl that you are having? Mullah said, definitely it has to be a human skull, he said. He said, what is this magic bowl that you are having? Like a cup it is, like a small, the skull is just like one small, medium-sized cup. Whatsoever goes inside, it's still remaining empty. The craving, the trishna is because of what? The trishna is because of a inner emptiness. Without that, you feel so lost. Without that, you feel so empty. You get so restless. You feel so restless. Therefore, you have to accumulate things and keep looking at those accumulations and feel safe. And feel safe. Oh. There are people who can't even throw the used broomstick, no? They can't even let go of the used broomstick. Once in 5 years, once in 7 years, they will decide to clean the house. They'll bring everything down from the loft. They'll see everything. This is important, this is important, this is important, this is important. And the whole lot will go back into the... Why? Why this thirst for accumulation? Because of the inner emptiness. Fool is one, instead of attending to that emptiness and asking how to free oneself from that, goes on doing things where the emptiness goes on multiplying. More and more and more you accumulate the external, your inner emptiness goes on multiplying. Because you are not paying any attention at all to your inner. Are you okay till now? Therefore, he says, give up the thirst for all accumulations. Wealth is used as an example here, as a drishtanta here. It's not about wealth alone, it is wealth plus all accumulations. Then it will make sense. If you take it very literally, like first verse, if you take grammar very literally, you lose the message. So we take the entire aparavidya. Here, wealth means not just the bank balance, not just the gold, not just the currencies. It is all that which you go on accumulating. All that you go on accumulating. Are you okay till now? Now, one of the greatest invention of a human being is wealth. In some other context, I have said this, and any number of times I will repeat it also. One of the greatest invention of human being is wealth. Because exchange became easy. That's all. Wealth is meaningful because exchange becomes possible only if there is wealth. So imagine a society where wealth is not there. Remember the example? You have a cow and you want to purchase a horse. It will be a lifelong task. A whole lifelong task it will be for you to. Why? Because you have to find a person who wants to sell his horse and purchase your cow. Look at that. Village to village, town to town, you have to go looking for a person. By the time you get that person and do all that, the cow will get old, the horse will get old. Even if you buy it, you will buy a thing which is so redundant, useless. They had a very big problem. What they did, money was invented. So what happened? Sell the cow, take the money, buy the horse. Still the focus is on what? Still the focus is not on the money, the cow and the horse. Money became a very meaningful tool. Are you able to follow? A medium of exchange. It did a great service to humanity. Because of money, purchasing, selling, everything became so organized. If there is no problem. If you have stopped with this understanding that it is a very useful tool, there is a problem. Even today, you have a dollar. The dollar has to be converted into bread and butter. No. See, when you are hungry, you can't eat the dollar. When you are hungry, what you have to eat? Bread and butter. So the dollar has to be exchanged. So money is that which keeps changing itself into objects. So what is money? Money is that which has the potential capacity to turn into objects of comfort, utility. Are you able to follow? So when you are having Trishna for wealth, what is the Trishna for now? Sunil, if you are having Trishna for wealth, it is not Trishna for wealth. It is Trishna for that which it can convert itself into. Per se, what will you do? You have all the dollars, but they tell you dollar, you eat the dollar. Eat the dirhams, eat the rupees. Can you do that? You cannot. You have to. It has to change. It has to necessarily change. So, you cannot enjoy it by keeping it. You should allow it to. Only when it changes, then only enjoyment comes. This is the psychology of the wealth. This is why human beings invented. Remember, all human inventions are tools. Wealth is also a tool. Again, I repeat, all human inventions are tools. Tools means that which is supposed to give you a tool means you use the tool for something. By itself is not the benefit. Correct? Tool means by itself it is no useful. It is useful only when it can give the ultimate. Wealth is a very useful tool. But what happened? That useful tool, wealth, the human being has got so attached to. We are not saying be in poverty. Remember that. When we say don't have the Trishna, doesn't mean worshipping poverty. It's not to say worship poverty. Worship poverty, the Tamil cinema madri ad, all movies madri ad, isn't it? the hero will be a very poor person, another, isn't it? A rich man always will be the rich man will always be the villain. We are not worshipping poverty like that. Are you able to follow? It is not worshipping poverty. It is not saying poverty is spiritual. Don't equate poverty to spirituality again. Those who misunderstand started equating power, spirituality equals poverty. Therefore, let everybody be spiritual. I will be wealthy. Yeah, because spirituality equals poverty. And would you love to be in poverty? Therefore, let others be in poverty spiritual while I remain amidst wealth indulging. Why? Because wealth as such is not rightly understood. Are you okay till now? All great masters who's interested in the welfare of humanity is always against wealth. They always keep talking about as though they are against wealth. And there is a deep reason for it. Carefully follow now. There is a very deep reason for it. What is the very deep reason that all great masters are always as though they are all against wealth? What is the reason? Don't say inner poverty and all now. What is the reason? Wealth makes you so delusory into believing that everything can be purchased. Are you able to follow? Purida? Like an encyclopedia, I'm saying 25 points. I don't know what will. Why they are so much against wealth? It's not, they are not against wealth. The wealth gives you a delusion. That's why it's called Muda. Muda jahihi dhanagama trishna. Why? Because wealth gets you into a delusion. What is the delusion? What is the delusion that wealth can get you into? It believes it can be, you can purchase everything. What is it? Purchase capacity. Yeah. What do you call that? Purchase power. Purchase power. Earning capacity and purchasing power. Aparna, wealth irundha, isn't it? 10,000 rupees ticket vaangi Balaji kitta pola, isn't it? Purchase. Ticket can be purchased. With wealth, what can be purchased? Sunil. With wealth, you can purchase a ticket and go few centimeters away from Balaji. More money you have, you can go maybe in the closer, maybe you can even give him a hug and come back. Isn't it? You believe it can be purchased. Able to follow? You believe it can be purchased. Wealth gives you a notion. That's why they are called, it is delusory. It is such a delusion you get into. The moment you believe everything can be purchased, you will not have a conviction in any virtues in life after that. Remember, that's why we don't have any conviction in the virtues. Even though we talk about virtues and values, we really don't have conviction at all in that. Why? Because we believe it's a commodity that can be purchased. We believe so. That's why we are so much in craving for wealth. Why? Because with wealth, it can be purchased. Everything can be purchased. What cannot be purchased? Oh, love, compassion. God, don't talk all that. Like cinematic dialogues and all, don't give. With wealth, what cannot be purchased? What you are seeking cannot be purchased. What are you seeking? Introduction to Bhaja Govindam. What are you seeking?
Bhaja, you're seeking Bhaja.
Peace, security, happiness, freedom, immortality, any word you can use, or you can put everything. Sir, add pande pohadingo, you don't say. You're going on adding one thing. First you said peace, security, happiness, and then we added peace, security, happiness, freedom. Now, peace, security, happiness, freedom, immortality. This cannot be purchased. If it cannot be purchased, wealth becomes useless here. Wealth is useful for that which can be purchased. Wealth is useless for that which cannot be purchased. Relatively, people say love, compassion, affection, sincerity, dedication, all this cannot be purchased, sir. அதெல்லாம் கிடையாது. இன்சென்டிவ் கொடுத்தா அதெல்லாம் இன்சென்டிவ் கொடுத்தா it can be purchased. It is short-lived. That is separate. Are you able to follow? Therefore, wealth means Trishna for wealth. What is the foolishness behind wealth? The foolishness behind wealth is it gives you a conviction that everything in life is a commodity that is available for a price, including gods, including proximity to God. That's why ticket buddy, you get proximity to God, isn't it? Depending on the ticket, proximity to God. Even there, you can proximity to the deity is possible. If proximity to the deity is going to give you moksha, class allam vanave vana. Week after week after week, we need not give class at all. Distribute tickets to everybody. Go there and come back, you'll attain moksha. Right? So it works out, no. But why all this? It doesn't work like that. Therefore, now you understand why all great masters are against wealth. They are not against wealth. They make you, the wealth gives you a conviction. You are craving for wealth so much because you believe everything can be purchased. The moment you believe everything can be purchased, you will lose conviction in morality. You will lose conviction in dharma. That is why anybody who is dharmic, you laugh at him. Or you will say, அவர் சும்மா நடிக்கிறார் சார், அப்படிலாம் தர்மிக்கெல்லாம் இருக்கவே முடியாது. Are you able to follow? Not only you will lose conviction in dharma, anybody follows dharma, either you will laugh or you will think he is pretending. Mooda jahihi dhanagama Krishna. இன்னும் 3 more sentences are there in this verse. ஒரு sentence தான் முடிச்சிருக்கோம், isn't it? மூட ஜஹீஹி தனாகம திருஷ்ணா குருசத் புத்தி மனசி வித்ருஷ்ணா எல்லபசே நிஜ கர்மோபாத்தம் வித்தம் தேன வினோதய சித்தம். அதுக்கெல்லாம் இன்னும் வரவே இல்லை. மூட ஜஹீஹி தனாகம கிருஷ்ணா. Don't worry, we will continue next week also in the same verse only. Don't worry, we will, like a goods train, we will go slowly. We are not in a Vande Bharat Express, we are not going. We go like a goods train. Or station we will stay for 3 weeks. Let even the bullock cart will pass through us, and then only we will go to the next verse. Are you able to follow? Uda jahihi dhanagama trishna. What is this trishna? Why these masters are against wealth? Why all religion seems to be against wealth? Even though the same way the Purva says wealth is important, the human being greatest, one of the greatest inventions that made life very easy is the wealth. It makes you to believe everything can be purchased. Yate vitte kaha parivarah. Parivarna enga pochi is going to ask. Wealth irundada naal per varuvanga, he said, isn't it? Only when there is wealth, they talk about one of the very great poets of our times. I'm talking about Tamil literature. One of the very great poets of our time, Subramanya Bharati. They say when he died, there were not enough people to carry his body to the funeral. Can you imagine that man, his poetry, his thing? Wealth illanna yarum varamattaanga, sir. Isn't it? You believe with wealth you can purchase people. With wealth, everything can be purchased. God can be purchased. Guru can be purchased. Knowledge can be purchased. Everything can be purchased. You believe wealth can do that. You want to purchase all this for what? Because you think it is going to give you peace, security, happiness, freedom, immortality. Accumulations-க்கும் wealth-க்கும் apara vidya-க்கும் இந்த 5-க்கும் no connections at all. It means what you are seeking your whole lifetime and what you are doing has no connection. Commissioner, are you okay now? Yeah, 5 things. What are the 5 things? Peace, security, happiness, freedom, immortality. From childhood, you are seeking this 5 only. You are seeking this 5, and your whole lifetime you are doing something which is unconnected to this. What would you call that human being? What would you call that human being? Yeah. Basin Bridge le renda pirinjiruvaanga Madras la, isn't it? Yeah. Basin Bridge junction liye it splits, isn't it? Basin Bridge லேந்து கல்கட்டா போனா எப்படி போகணும்? சங்கர் ஒரு ரூட்ல போகணும். பாம்பே போகணும்னா லெஃப்ட்ல போகணும், isn't it? Wanting to go to Calcutta, sit in the train that will take you to Bombay. Arkonam station நல்லா இருக்குதுன்னு you will get down there. Any meaning in this life? Destination is also wrong. The train is wrong. You get down at the wrong station and you get stuck. You get stuck there and waiting for another train to come. Adhaan Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Another train. Arakonamla eri Renigunta. Oh, super sir. Pakkathile Tirupati irukkudu. We'll quickly go to Tirupati and come back. Are they going? Oh, Mantralayam irukkudu. We'll quickly go and come back. Pune irukkudu. Abdiye Shirdi, Pandharpur lam poitu I will come back. Bombay la irangitu, is this not Calcutta? You will ask. Because where you want to go? If a person is traveling like this, what would you call that person? If you have some affection to that person, if you have some concern to that person, if you have some feeling for that person, what would you do to that person? What would you do? Subramaniam, what will you do? Feel like giving one tight? You feel like giving one tight slap. That's why I say, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Moodamate. Mooda Jahihi Janagama Krishna. He's repeating this. Oh fool, oh fool, oh fool. So that each and every time he's repeating the fool, you can see his affection and concern for us. Every time when the fool word is repeated, you can see his affection, you can see his concern. Why? Destination is one thing. You have taken the wrong train. Not only you take the wrong train, in every station you will get down and spend one lifetime in that station. What is this life? Instead, chorus. Instead, what are you supposed to do? Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Budhamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Dukrin Karne. With this, we conclude for today. We continue reading verse number 2 because there are some more things that has to be read in verse number 2, which will continue in the next session.